another professional prep video. In today's video, we'll be talking about documentation in Java. Now, the definition of how I view documentation is basically a way to write your code in English. Oftentimes when you're given a bunch of Java code, the first question you'll ask is, what does this code do? And the comments will really clarify that question up. Also, sometimes you'll have some variables which you might not know what they mean or what a specific method does. So if you have comments, it can really help you and other programmers understand your code. One thing that's really important is that comments won't be compiled. So even if you have like a really long piece of code and if you have a ton of comments, all those comments won't be compiled or affect the output of your code. That's really important to know about comments in Java. Java typically has two types of comments. So the first type of comment is single line comments, which are you have two slashes and then that's it, there you go. There's also a multi-line comment where you have a slash star and then end off with a star slash, and you can type in here multi-line and then comment. This way, if you have a really long piece of code which does not work, or a really long paragraph explaining what a method does, multi-line comments will be really helpful. One thing that can really help other programmers understand your code is using self-documenting variables. So now let me show you why these are so important. So what if I do int r equals 5? What do you think that would mean or signify? What do you think r means? Now what if I told you r is apples? You would not know that r is apples at all just looking at the letter r. The letter r could mean so many other things besides the word apples. Now to fix this issue is write apples. And that'll be really helpful for other programmers looking at your code and you yourself when trying to debug your code, because now you'll know that an apple means apples. You could also keep it at R and then say right here, R is apples, but keeping it in apples will make it easier to write code and debug. Yeah, that's pretty much it about self-documenting variables. Now the last important form of documentation is the Java docs. So say if I go to File and I go to Generate Documentation, what this will do is it will create like an HTML sort of file and display it on Google Chrome. So see right here how it's completely doesn't have any of your own work in it. It just has a bunch of constructor methods. It's basically like the default Java doc. So if I go to my compiler, I can actually put a bunch of comments onto this Java doc. So future programmers can look at those comments and understand what your code does. Now, in order to do that, yeah, you can do it on the top. Typically, they're done above method headings. So let's just assume that this would be a method. And to do that, you'd have a slash, star, star, and then a star and a slash. And you can type anything in the Java docs as long as you put a star and then start typing. So say if I do, my name is Vinay, and then say if I do another comment saying, welcome to professional prep. So if I file, and I go to generate documentation, when this comes up, one second, yep. Right here on the top, you see it says, my name is Vinay, welcome to professional prep. Typically, these are done above method headings, so it's easier to understand what each method does. But for the purposes of just this tutorial, I just wanted to show you that that's how you put things in the Java doc. Typically, many experienced programmers and really long pieces of code, people who create those, they put a lot of their comments on the Java doc so that other people can understand it rather than having to go through a bunch of code and seeing code and comment at the same time. Just another unique way to document your code. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any future videos that you would like to listen, please put them in the comments below or reach us at our email, which will be in the description. Other than that, thank you and have a good day.